Hello, I'm going to provide a short overview of um, of the assignments that are going to be due next week. Also, where you should be at. You can see here I've got 19 opiate crisis discussion posts that were due on Monday. I reopened them for some people so they could go back and post, but I will be grading those and you'll be getting personal feedback. If you miss this post, know that you have another day to get it in, but no, also some of these will be dropped. But it's a good idea to always be looking to do these posts. The second is now we're going to move to modules. So in this modules, I'm going to be posting this video in this week right here, not in week 2. So I'm going to close these weeks. It has this little arrow here, but in week 3. And I'm going to put it right here, complete out of class, so like a video so that you can watch it. You will see that there are 3 things that you need to complete out of class. You need to be watching this bad sugar table discussion questions. And what's going to happen is that you click on this, and there's a Word document for you to look at and to type directly into. Let's see here. There is a video called Watch Bad Sugar Documentary. When you click on this, it will open up the documentary that you can play directly out of Canvas. So you'll need to click on that. It is excellent. And then as you're watching that Bad Sugar documentary, you're going to be completing this Word document here. One of the big things I want you to realize is that the theme of this Bad Sugar video is really about the idea that there's some things that are out of your control. And you're going to have 2 parts. You're going to have the discussion questions. I'm going to go ahead and open this up so you can see this. You're going to have your discussion questions. Good, I want to make sure I'm sharing. You're going to have your discussion questions. So these are just simply right off the video, okay? What is type 2 diabetes? And you're going to answer these questions, and you can type directly into this document, and you should bring those. Then this should go on the next page. Brainstorming any issues that you're concerned about, above and beyond diabetes or anything in your community. So for the Native Americans in this video, they were worried about diabetes. But think about anything that you're concerned about. Like, are you worried about water quality? Are you worried about pesticides? Are you worried about basic shelter? Are you worried about safety in your neighborhood? Anything at all. Make that list. Just do that on your own. And then what's going to happen is we're going to do an exercise in class where I'm going to have you group your themes, and then you're going to think about it. Is this community? Is it social policy? Or is it individual that support that theme? So for example, if I'm worried about food safety or food, accessing good quality food, I would say worried about accessing good quality food. And in my community, I could say there are supports for it or there are not supports for it. As for social policy, I can say, well, there's the WIC program, but I don't qualify for the WIC program. But it is there for women, infants, and children. But there's really not much social policy for food. And then on an individual basis, I have food every day. And so that, I know I'm going to be able to eat. It's just the type of quality of food that I'm going to eat. So I'm going to have you work through these. I'm not going to collect this for a grade like there's a right, wrong answer. But I want you to think about this. And when we come into class next Tuesday, you're going to bring these 2 items completed with your thoughts on there. And then I'm going to collect those at the end of the class because I'm going to read them, but you could take notes on them also during class, okay? I will be able to tell kind of like what you did on your own. So I wouldn't bring this in completely blank because I do see that. I do see when people are prepared. It also makes a huge difference because you can keep up with my pace in class. If you do not prepare before you come into class, you will feel sometimes confused what's happening, because it's fast because of this hybrid approach. So make sure you watch the video and you complete this before you come into class, and I guarantee you'll be moving along right along with the class. Okay, so then that's the one thing I want you to do. So Thursday we don't have class, right? We don't meet, but this is something that I would get done on Thursday or Friday. I would get this done first. Okay, now moving along. I have to say I'm enjoying my little video here. So the next thing is I want you to start your research on your community. Now, in class, I went over about how to do this. And one of the things that I talked to you about was this idea of using this framework. And I'm going to grab this framework real quick. You don't need to fill out this framework. It's a framework, so that means it's like a guide. And I showed you this piece of paper with kind of like how this is the framework, and the idea that we need to look at the social inequities, the institutional power, and the neighborhood conditions of your defined community. You don't have all this data yet. You will start to collect this data, but this is a piece of paper that you hold on to. This is a framework. This is kind of like an outline to a big paper that you're going to work on towards the end of your project. This is like your final project guideline outline, okay? Maybe that will help some people go, ooh, this is for my final project. You can even write final project outline. This will help you kind of guide you through the class, but in no way do you need to fill this out now. Just know that we're moving across this framework, okay? So with that in mind, then, you need to be thinking about your neighborhood. What is your neighborhood? And one of the things that I talked about is that define your neighborhood. Do you have a name for your neighborhood? What's the North Street, the South Street, the West Street, the East Street? What is your boundary of your neighborhood? Do you have like a railroad tracks going through it? And I suggested that you print out a Google map or something like that to kind of give you a map. You're going to use that map in your journal, okay? And then what schools are in your neighborhood? And the reason why I asked you about what schools are in your neighborhood is because you can look up that information on DataQuest, which is this link that you can look up, and you can see what the free reduced lunch rate is for that school. That's your poverty level. So you can look that up. You can look up and see what their physical fitness scores are. So look up the school that your community goes to. Where do they go? You can look at the elementary. Oh, and you can look at the high school, and you can pull up all kinds of things to see how they're thinking and what they're doing. There's also something called California Healthy Kids Survey. There's so much data out there that you can look at to see how your schools are doing. Then the other thing I had you work on was census data. Now I'm going to share this, make sure that this page is sharing. It is. And so with census data, you can go down a rabbit hole with census data. But I showed you basically one of my favorite things is American FactFinder. So you go to American FactFinder right here. And American FactFinder has this very simple search engine. And let's see here. I want to go explore data. My internet's not moving very quickly. So we're going to go, my other way of doing it is, and I do have this posted in your Finder, but you go to American FactFinder. It's very easy to find. And you go to it, and then you put in your zip code. This zip code will give you census data on like how big your population is. Obviously, our everything's moving a little bit slow, but it can give you. You could put your census data in there, and still waiting for FactFinder. Oh boy, I've hit a glitch. But imagine it's coming up right now, American FactFinder, and you put in your zip code. Okay, so this is definitely let's see here. Let's see if I can move faster if I go back to the module. And then there's DataQuest. There's American FactFinder. See, I think it's going to open up actually quicker this way. So American FactFinder is here. It's opening up in this here, but you can also click on the link itself and it will open up. You put your zip code in there and then you can see the information for your community, okay? So I'm not going to sit here and wait for my internet to catch up with me, but you get the idea. The other thing that I want you to do is, if you're like, that's easy, I got that, then I handed this out. It was called a hands-on exercise. And if you go to page 5 of this, there is something called narrative profiles. And you could really show off your census skills. And I'd be super impressed if you could print out a narrative profile for your community. And there's step-by-step guides. You can even drill down to census tract. You can go deeper. And I would be happy to show you how to do that. But first things first, I just want to keep it simple. Can you go to American FactFinder? Can you put your zip code in? And then if you're like, oh, that's easy, I got this, then go into my little guide and you can go deeper. You can find out everything. You can find out if people carpool, where people live. You know, you can get a write-up of your profile. It's great. I will show you that. I'll show that off in class, but know that this worksheet is a keeper. You want to keep this and you want to use this. You want to keep these two in your journal, binder, whatever, and keep them organized. I'm going to be asking to take a look at your journals and see how you're organizing all these handouts and things. I would three-hole punch these and or some have a folder or something to keep these because you will need these, okay? So back to your assignments. You're going to complete the bad sugar table discussion. You're going to watch this video. You can click on these different things to help you kind of get an idea. You're going to start researching your community area. It doesn't mean you have to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm going to be asking about progress so far. And I'm going to put an extra credit discussion question due on Monday for those people just to kind of see what they've started to do, okay, and what they're starting to think about. And then one of the things that I put on here was a walkability survey, and this is not due next Tuesday, but this walkability survey is just simply going around asking people about how safe they feel in their area. So this walkability survey is also posted online right here. And I would make multiple copies of that and then pass it out to people in my neighborhood. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then that's fine. That says something in itself and you should document that. So right here, this is going to be due in class and this is due in class. So I'm going to make sure I get that deadline in there so that you see that. This is going to be due. I'm going to make sure right here. We're going to have a discussion post. Actually, I'm going to make it on paper because I want you to kind of show off your things. So bring in items to class that you are thinking about to share. And then I will be posting a discussion post that's extra credit. Okay, so, and I will make sure that you see that it's also due. This is just thought pattern. This is due February the 5th. And I'm going to keep it open, okay, because I really want to see your progress. Each week I'm going to ask you, how are you doing with your neighborhood? Because what's going to happen is we're going to come up with these each week. We're going to have an issue. Opiates, drugs. Next issue, we talked about census, how to gather data, but coming up again, we're going to be talking about food insecurity, and that's going to be our focus next week. Then the next week after that is homelessness. Then after that is human trafficking. Then after that, we're going to be talking about each issue that might be different and not a high priority for your community. Some issues are going to be really high priority and others are not going to be priority for your community. So you're going to be looking at it from the perspective of your community about what's important to you as we discuss each of these issues. Okay? So again, focus in on that bad sugar film. That takes 29 minutes. Knock that out. Complete the discussion questions. Begin thinking about things that you worry about and that you're concerned about, and begin searching on your community. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I think it's very clear about what is due next week. And next week, I'm going to collect the bagged sugar table discussions right here. We're going to have a discussion in class, and I will be collecting these. And then you start your research on your community. I'm going to ask you to open up your journals and show me what community you're going to have. You're going to have a discussion, okay? So I will be collecting the bad sugar table, and I will be looking at your research on your community. And right now, I'm going to post an extra credit discussion item for those who are starting to proactively look at this, and I'm going to keep it open, and you will be able to earn extra credit for your final project, and I'm going to post it there. So this is going to be an ongoing discussion. I want to see how you guys are working on things, okay? If you have any questions or you need clarification, make sure that you Canvas message me and let me know. And I look forward to seeing your projects and seeing you next Tuesday.